that doesn't give you chills, I don't know what does. Hello friends, I'm Tom. This is my top 10 picks of monsters for Monster Hunter World, Iceborne.
Starting right about now.
Now I just want to preface and say that I did pick many of these because I was hoping to pick a variety of monsters that are either not in Monster Hunter World or monsters that would fit the theme of Iceborne very well. So with that in mind, here are my choices. Starting with the Blanganga. I thought this was an appropriate pick because you mostly fight it in snowy mountains. Also, we don't really have a fanged beast that looks quite like the Blanganga. It's got like a very ape-looking appearance. It's an ice element, clearly, and it's weak to fire. It does a lot of jumping and leaping attacks. It even has an ice breath, and it can give you Ice Blight. I think Ice Blight will make some sort of a return in Monster Hunter World Iceborne. Maybe it won't freeze you in your tracks, but rather slow your movements. Some effect, not like the one that we had, but a similar one. My next pick is, drumroll, the Lagambi. It's another monster that you mostly fight in the snowy mountains. And it's another type that we kind of don't really have a monster that looks like this in Monster Hunter World. Like a bear type figure. I think its moveset would add a lot of variety as well. It has a lot of dashing moves where it dashes really straight or it slides around in a half circle or full circle motions. It can also throw snowballs for ranged attacks. And it can even just sit back on you if you're just attacking it from behind. It'll just sit on you. Feels bad. Yeah, that hurts. And we're still working our way up to the big boys here. So while we're still down on the ones that I think are just a little more appropriate for Iceborne, I got to include this guy, the Barioth. The Barioth is another snow monster, as you can see, that I think would be awesome in Iceborne. It's an ice type. It's weak to fire and electric, and it mostly has a lot of flying and leaping attacks like you saw on its entrance there. And it does a lot of tackles as well. It can shoot ice, and when it's flying, those ice blasts even make like AoE circles. So yeah, he can be pretty mean. And he can use his large tail to swipe and even cause Ice Blight. I would honestly love to see the Gammoth and the Barioth fighting. That would be an Iceborne dream come true. Yes, that was a shameful way of me putting the Gammoth in my video. Please put Gammoth in Iceborne. And now we move on to some slightly bigger boys. Zamtrios. It's an amphibian type. Its element is water and ice. It's weak to thunder and fire. It resides mostly at the frozen seaway or the polar field. So another good Iceborne candidate. Here we are. It mostly shoots beams of water out of its mouth. It can swim in the ice and pop up under you, or it can even hit you while it's swimming in the ice. It can use an ice armor ability to assist in the fight, and it can blow itself up like a balloon, or that blueberry girl from Willy Wonka. In this state, it just rolls around and jumps, but it packs a strong hit. A shield really helps a lot. The next one we all think is going to be in Iceborne, mostly because we saw those red eyes in the trailer. The famed Nagakuga. It's a flying wyvern type. It doesn't really hit with an element at all, so it's non-elemental, and it's weak to thunder and fire. It mostly is located in jungles and forests. It's a very fast and agile monster, mostly recognizable for its red eyes, and they kind of leave tracers behind them. It does most of its damage with its tail, which is spiked. It does a move where it throws it straight into the ground, and the spikes come out. If you actually get hit by it, you'll get sent flying back. But if you dodge it, there's actually an opening for you to do an attack. It can jump very far and high, and it can also shoot spikes out of the tail at hunters. It's a fan favorite. Up next, the Tigrex.
Bitch, sit down. Be humble. Sit down.
Be humble. I had to, sorry. It is another flying wyvern. It is another non-elemental. It's weak to thunder and dragon, and this one can be found in almost any environment, from the frozen seaway to the deserts to even the marshlands and the forests. This was the flagship beast of the second generation and is yet another true fan favorite, but maybe more despised, I think, or just appreciated and respected because of how difficult he truly is. He's really hard because he's incredibly fast and all of his moves do a lot of damage, but he also has almost zero recovery time. After he hits you, he's just pursuing you for another and another. He's also a very loud beast, where the Nargacuga is kind of a subtle monster that sneaks up on its prey. The Tigrex is very loud and boisterous, and it actually uses that as an attack. One of its strongest abilities is its roar, and anything near it gets sent flying back. Honestly, the next one up here is a fan favorite as well. I'm adding in a lot of monsters that I think are really just staples to the series, and everyone kind of wants them in the next game, as well as things that I do think would match really well. And this one maybe more lies on the side of fan favorites than things that I think match Iceborne well, but it would be awesome to see Xenogray. Another fanged wyvern. It's thunder elemental. It's weak to ice. It lives in a large array of places like the Tigrex, mostly forests and frozen areas. Xenogray is incredibly unique. It's one of the only monsters that you can actually harvest insects from. Strange enough. If you knock it over while you're fighting it, you can go around to its back and harvest insects off of it. It also has the ability to charge itself up, or like Goku, go Kaioken, and it gets a little bit stronger each time it does it. It can do it twice, and you can interrupt it while it's doing it. And if you interrupt it, it actually falls over. Many people consider this next monster one of the hardest monsters in the series. This mon is called the Rajang.
So tasty!
It's a fanged beast, it's thunder elemental, it's weak to ice, and again, it can be found in almost any habitat. This monster is so mean, it's basically known for hunting Kirin. Yeah. This is also a mon that has stolen an ability from Goku. It can just go Super Saiyan. Yeah, actually, its fur turns yellow and it gets probably twice as strong. It's insane. When it's enraged, that's when it turns Super Saiyan, and you can really feel the difference. It's so much faster, it hits so much harder, and its weak point, of all things, is the tail. That little tiny tail. Good luck, hunters. So these next two monsters I'm going to lump together because they're very much the same style of monster, even though they're kind of polar opposites. And by polar opposites, I mean they just share opposite elements. This that you're looking at is the Yukonlos. It's a flying wyvern. It's an ice elemental. It's weak to fire and thunder. And just like the next one here, it kind of resides in its own landscape. They basically catered their own elemental place to these monsters. They're basically these huge mammoths that are just below the tiers of things like Dalmadora, giant monsters, basically. So they're like an in-between a large monster and a massive monster. But these ones are still very, very big. They're basically what I think of when I think of G rank or master rank quests. I think of facing something like the Akanto, this guy right here. Fire elemental, he's weak to dragon and thunder. And again, he has his own stage that they basically catered towards him. You don't really play in this area unless you're fighting him. They fight very similarly. They basically just charge at you and try and tackle you, and then they'll burrow underground and try and come up under you. They can also shoot their own elemental beams at you from a long distance. Very similar to the Gravios' beam right there, but obviously it's the Akantor, not the Gravios. Gravios is the gray one with the wings. This next monster is literally the end game of this series. It's like the Thanos of Monster Hunter. When someone tells you, oh yeah, you're going to be slaying dragons, this is what you think of. A black dragon that breathes fire. This monster is the Fatalis. The Fatalis is mean. He's very difficult. He spends a lot of his time in the air, just breathing fire down, and he's got a really long tail he can use to whip hunters with. It's considered an elder dragon, and is weak to fire and dragon. And it's also got a few variants as well. This one that you're seeing is called the White Fatalis. The White Fatalis has the ability to use red lightning, so it gives it a thunder elemental, and it's weak to fire. The next variant is the Crimson Fatalis. It's known for its blast-oriented element, and it is weak to ice. The Fatalis in general is just known for being able to one-shot hunters, so it is a very difficult fight, only for the people who are up for the challenge. And here we are at the last monster. It's another Elder Dragon. It was basically the Fatalis of Monster Hunter Tri, and as far as I know, it's the only monster that can use 4 elements. This is the Elatrion. The Elatrion is said to harness all the power of the true Elder Dragons, the Kushaladora, Chameleos, Lunastra, and Teostra. It fights with ice and thunder in the air, and dragon and fire when it's on the ground. And its weaknesses are opposite, so when it's in the air, it's weak to fire and dragon. When it's on the ground, it's weak to thunder and ice. Yeah, have fun figuring that one out. Well, friends, that's the end of my list. Thank you so much for making it to the end. There are a few honorable mentions that I spliced throughout there, and also a couple that I want to point out at the end here. I really think that we'll be getting some sort of insect monster. I don't think we're going to have any of the previous monsters that we've had as far as the insects that we've had, like the Celtis Queen. I think it'll be probably a new Iceborne, winter-themed insect monster, and I'm kind of looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to any and all of the new monsters that are coming that we have no idea or that we won't even expect at all. So I think that's very exciting. Thanks again, friends. Have a good one. Okay, last thing I'll say. Put Plesioth and Kezu in there. Come on. We all love them. Okay, I don't know about love. Like, the fights are so different and the monsters are so different that it would just be a good experience all around.